Hometown team for
Tennessee.
me here. I'm obviously not a Titans fan, man, but the Titans are loved around these parts. I think they're
Yeah.
going to be
All
better than
right.
expected.
Well, 7-10 season after losing, was that seven straight 10. You start your season off 7-3, and you're feeling pretty damn good about yourself, and then 7 straight losses. What happened here, Cricket? What happened during this stretch?
Injuries to the quarterback position wound up. Ryan Tannehill. I think what was it wound up missing a couple games in that stretch. Just lack of weapons on the offensive
Oh
side. Traylon
yeah, we
Burks, their
get we
first
got to
round.
see PJ Texas Walker, right?
That was Carolina.
That was Carolina. Oh, okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, yeah. He was in
Who did
Carolina
we
last
see? Who
year.
did we see in?
Malik Willis, got to see Malik Willis a little bit.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Their
Yeah.
third round pick from the year before out of Liberty. Young athletic guy, but didn't know if his style was really going to translate to the NFL or not, and it showed that it didn't really do that well. I just some injuries and stuff like that, lack of depth, no surefire. I mean, you got Derrick Henry, obviously, but Robert Woods wound up being kind of a bust for him. They brought him in trying to fill that gap where they lost to AJ Brown in that trade from the draft the year before. I don't just lack of depth, man. Lack of depth and lack of a surefire quarterback that can really take over a game. Ryan Tannehill's always been solid game manager and things like that. But every time I've seen Ryan Tannehill, have to take over a game, I've never seen him be able to do it. I've always seen him make mistakes in those spots. I'm not trying to hate on him. It's just the proof's in the pudding. That's what I've seen in those big time games. So I don't know if he's the guy that can take over and really give you a shot to win the big games there. But just really lack of depth. And I like Vrabel as the head coach. I think they're capable. I think they're going to have a better year this year. I think it's more of a bounce back. I'm not saying they're going to win the division, all that, but I think they are going to have a better year and just be in more of those games. I don't think you're going to see one of those 7-game losing streaks like you did last year.
Yeah. So, just taking a look at all this. This magazine I have here talking about who's on the hot seat for the team. They're like Ryan Tannehill's on the hot seat. I'm like, and they're listing all these things of like why and that he needs to play good this year and whatnot. And I'm like, this is his last year in Tennessee. It's like no matter how well he does, unless he leads them to a Super Bowl, this is his last year in Tennessee because next year they can cut him, and there's only an $18 million dead cap hit. So it's
at least an AFC Championship appearance. At least.
I'm like, my man's got paid for starting out as a wide receiver in college. 11 years in the NFL. He has made a career earnings $168 million.
Ryan Tannehill killing it, boy. I had no idea he had made that much. But well, hell, I was gonna say his seat's been hot everywhere he's ever went, man. I've always felt like they've kept him, even in Miami, stuff like that. He always had a short leash down there. But the guy's solid, solid game manager. I feel like he doesn't turn the ball over until it's one of those big time spots. But you got Derrick Henry that you can just turn around and hand that pill to and let him run like the monster that he is. Tannehill's kind of got a bad deal, but I guess I don't feel as bad for him anymore since he's made over $150 million just hanging out.
Doing the damn thing, dude. Doing the damn thing.
Golly.
Best all right, let's get into this. We got to go rapid fire here. All right, let's talk about this pick. I know you usually do this part, but let me do the first pick because I want to talk about this.
It's your world.
On the first round, with the 11th overall pick, I believe they traded back, didn't they? Didn't they trade back with someone? Something like that. I think they had the 8th, and then they had the 9th or the 10th. I can't.
No, I don't think they did trade because the Bears traded back to 9 from 1 with the Panthers, and then the Eagles traded up with the Bears. They flip flopped 9 and 10 right there because the Eagles wanted to.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking.
I think the Titans were. I don't know. It could have been no, they wouldn't have traded because they would have had those little arrows over there in the corner. So yeah, no.
Anyways, so they take this offensive tackle out of Northwestern. I believe he was the 2nd ranked, maybe the 3rd ranked offensive tackle in the draft.
They got him listed as 1 here on ESPN.
Okay, he was 1. Okay, maybe I was thinking of the guards and stuff ahead of him. Or
Paris,
like that. But yeah,
from Ohio State, Paris Johnson, is that him or whatever? He was like 1A, 1B.
Yeah, him. Who went to Arizona. But yeah, so they took Peter Skoronski, if that's how you say it. The reason why I like this pick. So one of the things about this guy that NFL scouts were worried about, he's obviously he's good, right? He's a big boy. He's good. He can block. There's a reason why he's the number 1 overall tackle in
He
the,
can play.
Yeah. The one thing about him though that they said was his arm span, his wingspan, was short for an NFL tackle. You got to have some long arms in there. So they're saying it was short. So they say, don't be surprised if you see a team draft him and he ends up switching to guard. And I'm thinking that is genius. I go, whoever is a running team or wants to be a running team, if you already have a solid, some solid tackles and you just want to beef up that inside, man, what better way to take this guy? And then he goes to Tennessee. What better place for him? I thought Seattle might have taken a shot at him because Seattle, they like to run and they had that pick up there. Wasn't mad at Seattle's pick. But Skoronski in Tennessee, I'm like, I thought they nailed this one. What did you think about this?
I liked it a lot, man. This guy, you're good if you're the number 1 ranked offensive tackle and you come from a team that went 1-11 last year, because Northwestern was a dumpster fire even before all this stuff happened. But the Titans were 26th in the league last year in pass block win rate, and they averaged the 4th fewest yards before contact per rush last season. So they needed to address that offensive line. Like you said, I don't hate it that offensive guard was one of their needs. So that may be something they're looking at. Like you said, if he does have the shorter wingspan and things like that, it's hard you need that long wingspan outside because you got to fight off those edge rushers and get extension and all those things. But you can put a guy like this in there in the interior and really, really bolster that line. So I loved this pick, man. I think this guy's a player. I think he's going to be one of those guys that plays a decade or more in the league, probably has some all-pro selections, but I think it's solid right here. I think it's a surefire thing, and I don't hate it at all. I know it's not a flashy pick in the first round, taking an offensive lineman or whatever, but they are the key to your success in the NFL. You got to start with the offensive and defensive lines, and I think they did good right here.
They flew him in after that first round, and they flew him into Tennessee on a private jet. That was a big boy coming off that bird.
He is a big 6'4", 313, man. Solid.
All right, I'll let you take it away from here.
All right, let's go. Well, then this is a big pick too. We're going to talk about this one. Will Levis, second pick in the second round. They did trade up for this one. This is a guy that was top 5 projections. It was kind of up in the air on whether the Colts were going to take Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. I like Will Levis better than I do Anthony Richardson. I watched them play the exact same teams for the last few years. Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, people don't realize, Anthony Richardson, when he started that preseason game the other night, that is only his 14th start since he was at Eastside High School or whatever. So he didn't have a whole career of college games that we could go off. It's like Will Levis does have that. I've watched him play the same caliber competition and play it better. I watched him beat Anthony Richardson heads up last year. So I don't hate this pick right here. I think there's more value, way more value in this, because if Will Levis winds up being a bust, nobody's yelling at you. Nobody's bitching, calling for your head. Anthony Richardson is a bust, you're fired. You take somebody number 4 overall and they wind up being a bust, you get fired. The GM does. It's part of it. But I like Will Levis right here. Like I said, brought a guy in to help with that offensive line, to help protect him. He can still learn under a guy like Ryan Tannehill, who's been a journeyman in the league. I like this pick right here. I really, really do. What you think? What do you think? Is this their quarterback of the future? Malik Willis is not it. Is this their quarterback of the future?
I think Will Levis finally got denied by a girl after the first round of the NFL. Did you see his girl that was there at the draft with him? She just got more and more disgusted with them.
It reminded me of Brady Quinn a few years ago when Brady Quinn was projected high like him, and they just kept falling down the board. They took him back into the suite or whatever. They're like, hey, bro, this is ugly. They keep putting the camera on you every time. Let's go put you in this nice-ass suite back here. And he went right around the same place that Will Levis did. That's a lot. That's a big difference in money, man.
It is.
A lot different.
Probably did himself a favor if he had dodged a bullet there with her. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not
solid though, man.
I don't know. Maybe he'll be one of those guys that plays, but plays well in the pros and a pro system. It's just too early to tell.
That was the thing. The offense he comes from at Kentucky is more of a pro style offense. So is a guy, he had Chris Rodriguez Jr. down there at tailback for him at Kentucky. Got Derrick Henry, so had a good running game in both plays. I just think his game will transition better to the league. And like I said, I watched Will Levis play well at the college level in spots. He was one of the top quarterbacks. There's a reason, also coming from Kentucky, obviously a much improved Kentucky team over the last decade, but still Kentucky. And so if you're getting that kind of hype from a place like that, I know you're a player. And I've just watched him play more college football than Anthony Richardson, and I've watched him be more productive as a whole. But next pick, 18th pick in the third round. I like this pick, man. I watched this guy a lot last year. Tyjae Spears, the running back from Tulane. Tulane had a monster season, wound up winning that Cotton Bowl against USC last year. was a lot of fun to watch. And I watched this team a lot. And Tyjae Spears, not a big guy, 5'10", 201, solid, but quick, can catch the ball out of the backfield, provides a lot of different elements to this offense. He's obviously not going to play over Derrick Henry, but can provide a good 1-2 punch to help spell Derrick Henry some, maybe save those legs for later in the year. I like Tyjae Spears a lot, man. I really hope he gets some volume in this offense. Do you know much about this guy?
I do not.
Man, he was fun. Like I said, the only reason I got to watch him as much as I did is because they were good last year and playing a lot of big games and things. Well, big games for their con. I mean, it was a lot of games where I watched Tulane way more than I ever have in my lifetime before
Here,
this.
I'll give you a generic running back take. Man, this guy's explosiveness, and the main thing with him is when he makes his cut, his vision out there is top tier NFL caliber vision. Not many people in the league have that vision. He has it coming into the NFL. This guy's going to be a stud here for the Titans.
Nailed it. Nailed it right there. I love it. I love it. You should be doing this part, man. But I like Tyjae Spears. I'm excited to see what he does. 13th pick in the 5th round, Josh Wiles, tight end out of Cincinnati. He's a big guy, man. 6'7", 248. Just a big target. Got good body control. Provide some mismatches in the slot, things like that. I love these big tight ends like this. They can provide those mismatches in the slot, especially down in the red zone. It's a big target, man. 6'7", 248. Been at Cincinnati, so a program that's played in some bigger games. Been a solid program for the last few years there. Not a bad pick here in the 5th round. Jalen Duncan, 9th pick in the 6th round. Jalen Duncan, the offensive tackle out of Maryland, so took another offensive tackle right there. So they must be planning on moving somebody inside on that line. I can't imagine they just bring these guys. Another big guy, 6'6", 306. He probably does have the reach to play offensive tackle in the NFL because that is a big, big dude. He's rangy, got good quickness, good feet. I don't hate this right here. I think there's value in the 6th round, and I think they definitely can move. Probably they can't move this guy in. I think he's too big and don't have the quickness Skoronski does. But a pick like this allows them to be able to have those options. And their last pick, the 11th pick in the 7th round, Colton Dowd from just up the road at UT Martin, wide receiver. Don't know a lot about this guy. Don't have many pre-draft rankings. Had a 1,000-yard season last year. 1,000-yard season, 112. Let's see, 7 passes, 112 yards against Tennessee. Yeah, had a big game against my Vols last year. We beat them like a drum, but you can't expect that. You know, the talent differential there is just a lot, the disparity. But Colton Dowd, kind of a burner coming off a 1,000-yard season. Maybe some value there in the 7th round.
It sounds like a pretty solid draft for what they had to work with.
Yeah.
Addressing key issues.
That's what I'm saying, man. You got basically 2 first-round picks there. A lot of people projected Will Levis to go in that first round, but really toward the high end of that draft. So I think you definitely get value there. I don't hate it. Didn't have a whole lot of capital, but addressed some needs. I would have liked to have seen them, like I said, that the offensive guard position, they very well maybe have addressed that, and we just don't know it yet. But I would have liked to see them address.
They did. Look, they moved him to left guard. He's on the depth chart right now.
Already, and that doesn't mean that he may not move back to tackle at some point in his career. But now,
I mean, when you got Andre Dillard, shout out, he could. Andre Dillard, the left tackle. I mean, that is a solid left side of the line.
Absolutely.
These 2 big boys protecting your quarterback's backside, plus Derrick Henry needing to run over there. I think that's.
Yeah, and got Petit Friere, the other tackle, going to be suspended the first, 4 games for that, 4 or 6 games for that gambling stuff. He's one of those guys that got punished for betting on another sport just because he's in his car at the facility, some stupid shit like that. But yeah, he got to sit out 4 or 6 games. But they may have to play the other young guy they just drafted there. They may have to play him early, something like that. But I don't hate. You can move Skoronski back later, but while he's still young and got good feet, moves well, put him in there and pull him, stuff like that. I don't hate it.
I like it. I think it's a good move. Good
I agree.
Fit there. Oh. Okay, so let's see. Free agents. Let's see. I don't think they made any big moves other than, they signed DeAndre.
Yeah. Traylon Burks, I want to see if he's going to be healthy. They're expecting a lot out of Traylon Burks. Spent a first-round pick on him out of Arkansas. Guy kills wild boars with a knife. You know that? They showed that when out in Arkansas is a different place anyway. It's definitely different. Ain't that where Patriot 4165 is out that way toward the Ozarks and stuff?
Yeah.
Apparently they got videos and stuff like that of Traylon Burks. I think
he says Patriot 4165 says they didn't lose anybody. Yeah, I don't think they did.
And Robert Woods, but it's not real it's not a real big loss based off the
Oh, I was sitting here looking. I'm like, I don't see this Nate Davis guy. Never mind. They did lose a guard, but they brought in a young guard. So I don't know. Like instead of paying him $30 million like Chicago did,
lose
they brought
Bud
in
Dupree, the linebacking position down there.
Look at that. They re-signed Andre Dillard though, keeping him around, keeping him happy, getting his man paid.
Brought him in from Philly. He did get paid, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big time. That's probably at least.
And I don't know if you know this. Philly's offensive line was pretty good last year.
They played twice, but they learned quick.
I think he, Andre there was a big part of that.
Absolutely.
DeAndre Hopkins, obviously they bring him in. So
lose Austin Hooper.
Years.
I'm sorry, man. You're way down here. I'm just kind of thinking out loud reading this list as you scroll down. They pop up.
I don't care. It's fun. You know me. I can't believe Robert Woods is still in the league.
Man, I'm pulling for that guy so hard. I've been trying.
I am. I'm just shocked to still see him there.
I just have been pulling for him to be a breakout fantasy player for so many. He had that one little stretch a few years ago where he had like 2 or 3 big time games, and I've been waiting for that same productivity since then and just have not got it.
All right, nothing crazy that I can see there. Is there anything you want to address before we get into the schedule?
Like I said, just Austin Hooper, losing him tight end. You got a Conquo that's going to be playing the tight end position for them. Got the young guy they brought in Weil. But I don't see anything there that's really going to make or break this team. The spots they lost people, they brought people in the draft.
All right, time for our favorite segment.
That's right.
Guess the lines, baby.
Over under today is set at 3.5 since you crushed my hopes so early in that thing.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I'm going to have a hard time judging these Titans of what the market thinks of them. Because I've seen the future, because I don't think so. The futures market says that they're going to stink and be one of the worst in the league. But I think when we see the week to week, I don't think the lines are going to reflect that, because where they're at in the futures market, you would think they're going to be like an Arizona or a Tampa Bay, right?
That's what Vegas thinks.
That's what they think. But I guarantee you, when it comes to the spread of these lines, it's not going to be like what those teams are. So it's going to be kind of tricky.
It is kind of weird. I know you haven't looked at these yet, but I have looked down through them and stuff like that. But yeah, as low as they are on them from a future standpoint, it doesn't really reflect that much in some of these game lines, in my opinion. I think we're going to set the over-under at 2.5 at this one, because this will be a little tougher one to judge. Maybe I should have set yesterday at 3.5, and then you would have still got over. But I think we are going to go back to 2.5 today, and I'm going to go under. Imagine that.
Oh,
it's not that I'm betting against you. I'm just pulling for me. That's all.
All right. So they open up at New Orleans. This is a good one. At New Orleans. New Orleans. 2.5 point favorites.
I thought you was going to come out the gate firing right there. Titans plus 3.5 at the Saints, plus 135 on the money line. Saints minus 175. I was like, he's going to nail this first one again after I've set it at 2.5. It's never good.
I was leaning 3 or 2.5, so I would have missed it anyways. I wish I would have said 3, so we could have got hooked.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and then so then they'll host the Chargers. Man, this one's gonna be tough. Chargers 3-point favorites.
Hooked them. Titans plus 3.5 at home against the Chargers, plus 140 on the money line. Chargers minus 166.
Okay. Then they go to Cleveland. I'm guessing. Oh man, this one's these are tough. Cleveland.
This is a tough one.
You're at Cleveland. Cleveland 2.5 point favorites.
Titans plus 4.5 at the Browns, plus 164 on the money line. Browns minus 198.
Oh man, we ain't messing around. All right. Then they're home against Cincinnati. Oh, this one's tough. Home against Cincinnati. Cincinnati 5.5 point favorites.
Titans plus 4.5 at home against the Bengals, plus 170 on the money line. Bengals minus 205.
Then they're at the Colts. Titans 1 point favorites.
Titans are 1 point dogs at the Colts, plus 1 at Indianapolis, minus 105 on the money line. Colts minus 115.
Some bitch. Then home against Baltimore, but that's not really home. It's abroad, so it's a neutral against Baltimore. Baltimore 4 point favorites.
I knew you'd already wasted your 5.5 here. Titans plus 5.5 overseas playing the Ravens, plus 180 on the money line. Ravens minus 218. I was like, sweet. He only if he even says a 5, it's only 1. I was like, he's already wasted that. No way he comes back here.
Oh my god. Patriot 4165 says 3-3 start. Yeah, and 0-6 for me. Okay, then they're home bye week and then home against Atlanta. Ooh. Titans. 1.5 point favorites.
Hooked them again. Titans minus 1 at home against the Falcons. Minus 115 on the money line. Dirty Birds are minus 105.
Oh god. Ooh, then they got a tough stretch. 3 straight road games. Competition wise, it shouldn't be too bad, but like they could win all 3 of those games. It's just gonna be tough. Anyways, I guess one is Thursday night football though. So short week Thursday night football after playing the Dirty Birds at home. Then you got to go to Pittsburgh. That's gonna be tough. Pittsburgh 2-point favorites.
Titans plus 4 at the Steelers. Plus 150 on the money line. Steelers minus 180.
With small hands, Kenny Pickett out there.
I'm telling you, watch out for old tiny hands, man.
Okay, then they got to go down to Tampa. Tampa Bay. Oh. Titans 1-point favorites.
Hey, welcome to the game, sir. Titans minus 1 at the Bucks. Minus 115 on the money line. Buccaneers minus 105. That's so sad. We're not even favored at home against one of the teams projected to be bottom 4 in the league.
I wish I would have done this from the beginning. I wish I would have had the Talladega Nights. I'm the best there is. Just every time I get one right, just click that.
Wake up and piss excellence.
Yes. Chew Big Red and then fuck you.
All hyped up on Mountain Dew.
Then at Jacksonville. This number might seem crazy that I'm going to say, but I think it's because if you look at the schedule that they have there, it's the 3rd straight road game. People are high on Jacksonville. I'm going to say Jacksonville 7.5 point favorites.
Titans plus 5 at the Jaguars, plus 170 on the money line. Jaguars minus 205. One of those weird division games that the Titans had dominated until last year. They had dominated this series in recent years, so maybe that's why it's a little bit lower.
I didn't account for the division because the familiarity. So that
and the Titans, like I said before, last year had really dominated that series as a whole over the last 5 or 6 years.
That's true. Okay, and then home against Carolina. It's gonna be interesting because I don't know what people are on. Titans 2-point favorites.
Titans minus 1 at home against the Panthers. Minus 115 on the money line. Panthers minus 105.
Jesus. Home against the Colts. Titans 1-point favorites.
Titans minus 2.5 at home against the Colts. Minus 142 on the money line. Colts plus 120.
Doesn't make any sense. How do you go from the Colts being 1-point favorites at home and you're going to flip it? 3.5 points? You usually don't flip it 3.5 points.
Not
just because of not against a division opponent. You know what I mean?
Not with a rookie quarterback that you've never seen. And just, like I said, I don't know. I don't know that I think they might miss that one. That might be one that I don't know. I'm probably going to leave these games like this alone. We'll know a lot more by the time we get to these games, though.
So then Monday Night Football down in Miami. Miami 6.5 point favorites.
Hooked them. Titans plus 7 at the Dolphins, plus 240 on the money line. Dolphins minus 298.
God damn it. Then they're home against Houston. This is going to be interesting. Home against Houston. Titans. I think I'm going to get hooked, but 3.5 favorites.
You've been called out the hook. Titans minus 3 at home against the Texans, minus 148 on the money line. Texans plus 124. I feel like you willed that one into existence.
I just had a feeling. I was like, I'm going to say 3, and it's going to be 3.5. And I'm like, I'm going to say 3.5, and it's going to be 3. What?
Why you can't have nice things, bud?
Then home against Seattle. That's going to be a good game. Christmas Eve, Seattle. You got Seattle and Tennessee, some two primarily wanting to be run dominant teams, try to play good defense.
Probably won't be an overly exciting game.
No, but it would be good old school, good football.
Good smash mouth football.
Yeah. Who knows? You might sometimes those teams they get into shootouts too. You start having like just random plays where there's like breakaway, And
the Seahawks always seem to be one of those teams that are in those type of games where you don't ever expect it and they just blow the doors off.
Dog fights. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. We'll just throw it down the DK down the sideline here real quick.
I would throw it to that monster every time.
Yeah, and then their rookie wide receiver.
Yeah, that and old Tyler Lockett just hanging out there too. Kenneth Walker
Yeah,
the
don't
third.
forget about old man Tyler Lockett. Anyways, Seattle 2.5-point favorites.
Hooked him again. Titans +2 at home against the Seahawks. +105 on the money line. Seahawks -125.
All right, then at Houston. I'm still going to say at Houston that Titans are a 1-point favorite.
Look at him. Titans -1 at the Texans, -115 on the money line. Texans -105. Coming down to the nitty gritty right here.
Home against Jacksonville? Jacksonville. I'm going to get hooked on this. I know it. Jacksonville. Three-point favorites.
Yes. Titans +2.5 at home against the Jaguars. +110 on the money line. Jaguars -130.
So
and that's the last one. Hooked him for the win. Cricket covers. Ship it.
Oh, man. I'm glad it ended on a hook, though. I either wanted to nail it or miss it by a hook.
I don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to have to find a sport just to guess lines on after we're done with these previews. We only got one more left after this one. So we're just going to have to find, we'll just start guessing lines on like Russian League hockey or something.